Good morning to everyone and welcome back to one more live session with Neetu's Academy. This is Anne with you, and today we are going to take around 30 to 40 minutes to discuss our listening acuity session, right? So this is the second day of the week, and as being a Tuesday, our normal sessions are with listening acuity, wherein we discuss a few questions connected to our listening module, right? So in continuation to our previous session, wherein we ended a section 2 of a test, we are going to deal with the section 3 of that particular test today, right? So before going into the questions, we are, as our regular process goes, we are going to listen to the audio clip along with the questions and try to solve them at the same time. Even if you are not there in the live also, whenever you are watching this video, you can just solve the questions and put it down in the comment box, or just, and later on we are going to evaluate the same, right, as the procedure goes. Before going forward with the audio clip, let me just give you a small tip over getting to the audios, right? When you listen to the audio, I have repeated that a few times earlier also, but let me just tell that when you listen to the audios, make sure that you're listening to various kinds of audios with different accents, right? Because the audio clip, the audio which you're going to hear in your actual test is going to be, you're going to have four audios, right? Yeah, because there are 4 sections, and each section will have one audio which ranges in the average, you can say, length of between 4 minutes to 7 minutes, in that range, right? So you're going to listen to 4 audio clips, right? So at that point of time, not necessary that you will have only one particular accent, right? Because you're going to a country wherein it can be any country. You must be planning to go to Canada, New Zealand, Australia, USA, wherever you are planning to go, UK. Every country, which is European or maybe American or UK, has got a different accent. Accent means they have got they give stress to certain of their words because of the sound of the alphabets, right? So sometimes some very common words, which we are used to speaking and hearing, may sound very different when they are uttering it, right? So when there is a name in the audio, right, it is always, if the name is really tough, they definitely give you the spelling, right? That is how the audios are planned. The speaker may repeat it along with they may spell it sometimes by repeating it. So otherwise, very common words also sometimes may feel very different for you, especially in an atmosphere of the exam. You're focused on the audio, so maybe that is your answer, and if you miss that, that means you're losing your 1 mark. So make sure that when you practice, keep a timer and practice, right, actual 30 minutes, and then don't pause or replay the audios, and listen with audios with different accent, okay? Like I always say, that listening is a module which can be scored 8.5 above to 9, right? So never miss that opportunity just because of lack of practice, right? So that is what I wanted to tell. So let's go forward. In a couple of seconds, you can hear the audio on your screen and see the questions also. Let's come back after that, okay, and discuss the questions, the audio.
Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear 2 biology students called Emma and Jack discussing an experiment they are going to do together. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
We've got to choose a topic for our experiment, haven't we, Jack? Were you thinking of something to do with seeds?
That's right. I thought we could look at seed germination, how a seed begins to grow.
OK. Any particular reason? I know you're hoping to work in plant science eventually.
Yeah, but practically everything we do is going to feed into that. No, there's an optional module on seed structure and function in the 3rd year that I might do, so I thought it might be useful for that. If I choose that option, I don't have to do a dissertation module.
Good idea.
Well, I thought for this experiment we could look at the relationship between seed size and the way the seeds are planted. So we could plant different sized seeds in different ways and see which grow best.
OK, we'd need to allow time for the seeds to come up.
That should be fine if we start now. A lot of the other possible experiments need quite a bit longer.
So that'd make it a good one to choose. And I don't suppose it'd need much equipment. We're not doing chemical analysis or anything. Though that's not really an issue. We've got plenty of equipment in the laboratory.
Yeah, we need to have a word with the tutor if we're going to go ahead with it, though. I'm sure our aim's okay. It's not very ambitious, but the assignment's only 10% of our final mark, isn't it? But we need to be sure we're the only ones doing it.
Yeah, it's only 5% actually, but it'd be a bit boring if everyone was doing it.
Did you read that book on seed germination on our reading list?
The one by Graves? I looked through it for my last experiment, though it wasn't all that relevant there. It would be for this experiment, though. I found it quite hard to follow. Lots about the theory, which I hadn't expected.
Yes, I'd been hoping for something more practical. It does include references to the recent findings on genetically modified seeds, though.
Yes, that was interesting.
I read an article about seed germination by Lee Hall.
About seeds that lie in the ground for ages and only germinate after a fire.
That's the one. I knew a bit about it already, but not about this research. His analysis of figures comparing the times of the fires and the proportion of seeds that germinated was done in a lot of detail. Very impressive.
Was that the article with the illustrations of early stages of plant development? They were very clear.
I think those diagrams were in another article.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Anyway, shall we have a look at the procedure for our experiment? We'll need to get going with it quite soon.
Right. So the first thing we have to do is find our seeds. I think vegetable seeds would be best, and obviously they mustn't all be the same size. So how many sorts do we need? About 4 different ones?
I think that would be enough. There'll be quite a large number of seeds for each one.
Then for each seed, we need to find out how much it weighs and also measure its dimensions. And we need to keep a careful record of all that.
That'll be quite time-consuming. And we also need to decide how deep we're going to plant the seeds. Right on the surface, a few millimetres down, or several centimetres.
OK, so then we get planting. Do you think we can plant several seeds together in the same plant pot?
No, I think we need a different one for each seed.
Right. And we'll need to label them. We can use different coloured labels. Then we wait for the seeds to germinate. I reckon that'll be about 3 weeks, depending on what the weather's like. Then we see if our plants have come up and write down how tall they've grown.
Then all we have to do is look at our numbers and see if there's any relation between them.
That's right. So then we get...
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, so that was the audio, right? And as you must have heard the audio, you must have seen the questions also on the background, right? So there were two set of questions. Being a section 3, it has got total 10 questions, which has been divided into two types. You can see total questions are, now on your screen you can see the type of questions which we are going to discuss, right? It is questions 21 to 30, right? Question 21 to 25 is MCQ, right? MCQ questions. And then going forward from 26 to 30 is completion of a flow chart. You have to fill in the flow chart, right? So there are two type of questions which are there in this particular section. We'll take one by one. Like the first set of questions is question 21 to 25. Choose the correct letter A, B or C. So it's a single answer MCQ. You have to choose only one. You have to make only one choice, right? And you have got around 5 statements which have been given to you, right? Yeah, yes, 5. So let's take one by one, right? Now, MCQs are type of questions which are very common in listening, right? You can find, I think it's a sure shot question. In almost every listening test, if you take up and practice, you can find an MCQ. So it's a very common question when it comes to listening module, right? So be aware of certain things when you are dealing with multiple choice questions. It may be single choice or it can be more than one choice. That is multiple choice, right? This is single choice, which is very common in listening. Now, when it comes to multiple choice questions, you have got options. Now here there are 3 options each for each statement and you have to choose one, right? And the topics which have in the statements which have been given as options is always a part of the audio which you have already listened, right? Most of them, somewhere it is connected, and of that one is correct according to the alignment with the statement, right? So before going to the audio, you're getting around 20-25 seconds to look at the questions. So in that 20-25 seconds, what you have to do is that you have to note some keywords, right? Because there are 3 options. Before getting confused, because while listening, you should only look at the options. You should be aware of what you're looking for, and you should for the particular thing only, right? So here, like for example, you can take the first statement, which says it's actually a question. The first statement. Why is Jack, now this is a conversation between Jack and Emma, because being section 3, it is going to be a conversation based on academic context, right? So they are going something regarding their academics, they're talking, right? Some course. So why is Jack interested in investigating and germination, right? So now you're looking for a reason why this person Jack is interested in taking up in investigating. That means investigating is synonymous to study or research, right? When it's connected to academics, it is your study. Investigating means you're studying about something or you're conducting a research about something, right? So why is he interested in this particular research which is related to seed germination, right? So you are looking for a reason, right? Why this? So one of the keywords is Jack. You're looking for something connected to Jack, and then why he is interested in seed germination. The reasons can be he may do a module on a related topic later on. So this is for the future. He may. That means it is something connected to, he may in coming period, he may do a module on related topic, this seed germination later on. He wants to have a career in plant science. That means he wants to develop his career. He wants to become a professional connected to plant science, right? Then he is thinking of choosing this topic for his dissertation, right? That is what they say. The 3 options are there. Now you have to find out either he is concerned about something for the future, or is it he want to make it as a career, or secondly he's choosing this for his particular dissertation, right? So let's see what it is about, right? So when we go to now we cannot listen to the audio, so let's go to the audio script, which is as similar to the audio, it's only in passage form. So now it's Emma. In the beginning, the speaker is telling what it is all about, and then it starts with a conversation wherein Emma says, we have got to choose a topic for our experiment, haven't we? Jack, were you thinking of something to do with seeds? So here it says seeds, right? Were you thinking of, were you, this pronoun is used for Jack here, right? Jack, that's right. I thought we could look at seed germination, how a seed begins to grow. So that is the definition of seed germination. So that's right. I thought we could look at seed germination. Now we are looking for a reason why he wants that topic, right? Emma, okay, any particular reason? So we are looking for a reason. Any particular reason? I know you're hoping to work in plant science eventually. Here Emma is giving the reason. That means you are going to have a job connected to plant science. But this is not confirmed by Jack. Jack has to confirm that. That is something something which she already knows. On the basis of that, she is giving an assumption. I know you're hoping to work in plant science, which is in the option. Jack, yeah. But practically, everything, now again I always repeat, but is a linker which disqualifies the previous statement and makes with the statement which is going to come more important. But practically, everything we do is going to feed into that. No, there's an optional module. So he says here clearly no. That is not the reason. Just because I want to have a career in plant science is not the reason why I am choosing this particular topic, seed germination. There's an optional module on this word called module, which is there in your options. There's an optional module on seed structure and function in the third year. Now, this is third year is for future. They are still not in the third year. It is going to come. That I might do. Might is again a probability for the future. I might, right? Or I may do. So I thought it might be useful for that. So his concept or his viewpoint was that right now if I take that topic, in my future when I am in my third year of degree, at that point of time, I'll be able to take advantage of whatever I learn or experiment now. So that is clearly given in option, in your sentence in option 1. He may do. May is something which is for the future. A module which is already given on related topic is seed germination later on. So this is your correct option. Clear? Right? Okay. Jack and Emma agree the main advantage of their present experiment is that it can be described very easily, right? Carried out inside the laboratory or completed in the time available. Now, Jack and Emma, they agreed that the advantage, the benefit, the main benefit of their present experiment, whatever it is that there's a benefit which they have. What is it? First is it can be explained very easily, described very easily, carried out inside a laboratory. So that means experiment can be done. You don't have to go outskirts or anywhere out. It can be done in a lab, completed in the time available, and they can complete it in that limited time they have been given for that experiment. They won't need anything extra, right? So there are 3 options. First is maybe it is to explain easily. It is conducted in a lab. So laboratory is the keyword, description, and it will be completed in a particular time frame which is given to them. Available means it is given to them. So let's see. Yes, when you go, Emma, good idea. Jack, well, I thought for this experiment we could look at the relationship between seed size and the way the seeds are planted. So we could plant different sized seeds in, right? Different ways and see which grow best. Emma, okay, we would need to allow time for the seeds to come up. Jack, that should be fine if we start now. A lot of the other possible experiments need a quite bit longer, right? So this is connected to time period, right? Here he says we would need to allow time for the seeds to come up. You need time there. And then Jack says that it's fine, that we have enough time. If we start now, we will be finishing off within the available time, because there are other experiments which may need a bit longer time. So that means this would make it a good one to choose. So that means because of that particular reason that they can complete in their available time, they are choosing this experiment as compared to the others, which is your third option, that is C, right? Completed in the time available. Okay, clear. 23. What do they decide to check with their tutor? Here you have a keyword. This is tutor. It being a noun, it is easy to track. Maybe they have told teacher or professor, whatever it is, right? But then it is easy to track when you listen to it. So what do they decide? They decide mutually to check with the tutor something. And what is that they are going to check with the tutor? Is it whether their aim is appropriate? That means their focus. Is it proper? Whether anyone else has chosen the topic, whether is there any other student who has chosen the same topic, that seed germination, for the experiment, whether the assignment contributes to their final grade, whether the marks which they get in this particular experiment will be added up in their final grade, which will be always a benefit for them, right? So let's see what is it that they're going to check with the tutor out of these three. And I don't suppose I would need much equipment. We are not going chemical analysis or anything, though that's not really an issue. We have got plenty of equipment in the laboratory, right? Check. Yeah, we need to have a word with the tutor. Yes, so here comes the word. Here comes the part which says that you have to have a word with the tutor. That means you have to talk to the tutor. If you are going to go ahead with this with it though, I'm sure our aim's okay. So here he already confirms that he is sure about their focus. Its aim is okay. So that is out of the option. It's not very ambitious, but the assignment's only 10% of a final mark, right? So it's not very ambitious. So here also he's confirming he knows how much they are going to get. They are going to get 10% of their final mark, but the assignment's only 10% of a final mark. So they will get 10% of that particular final mark as in the assignment, right? Isn't it? But we need to, so these two options which are already there in your options is already cut off because he knows about it. He did not ask it to the tutor. So it's quite obvious it's the third one, right? But we need to be sure we are the only ones doing it. That means nobody else is taken up the initiative of doing the same experiment. That's why the correct answer for that will be option B, whether anyone else has chosen the topic. That's quite simple, right? Because automatically in the audio itself, he is confirming the other two are not what he is going to ask they are going to ask the tutor. They agree that Grape's book on seed germination is disappointing because, so here they agree on something, the Grape's book. So you have got a noun here. The book is by Grape's book on seed germination is disappointing. It is not up to the mark as they expected, maybe because you are looking for a reason why. It fails to cover recent advances in seed science. So it fails means it is not able to give maybe updates which have happened in seed science. Advancement means the developments or the upgrades which have happened in seed science. That book is not able to give that information. That is first one. In seed science, recent advances. The content is irrelevant for them. They don't need that because it is not what they are looking for. They don't have any use of that. They don't have any utility. Its focus is very theoretical. There's nothing practical in that. It's all theoretical. So because of any one of these reasons, they are disappointed with that book. So let's see. When you go to the, yes, Emma. Yeah, it's only 5% actually, but I would be a bit boring. But it would be a bit boring if everyone was doing it, right? So here she corrects. It's not 10%, it's 5%. But that is not the reason, right? Okay. Did you read that book on seed germination on a reading list? Emma. The one by Graves. So this is the one, the Graves book. I looked through it for my last experiment, though it wasn't all that relevant there. So this is which says that they don't have relevant information there, right? It would be there. It would be for this experiment though, right? So last experiment when she checked, it was not relevant enough for the last experiment. But yes, this experiment, she says, it can be useful. So that we are looking for something which disappointed them, right? So here she's telling its advantages. So advantages never disappointing, right? I find it quite hard to follow. Lots about the theory, which I hadn't expected. Which I hadn't expected is something, it's below your expectation. That means it's very difficult to understand because lot is about theory. Yes, I had been hoping for something more practical, right? It does include references to the recent findings on genetically modified seeds too. So the first option which says that the advancements about the seed science is actually missing, then it says it does include references. It has got some references about the recent findings or developments on genetically modified seeds too. Yes, that was interesting, Emma says. Okay, so that is where it's complete, right? Also, when you are sure that she says that it is lot about a theory thing, right? There's less something they were expecting for something more which was practical. So that's why they found it disappointing. And that option is in number C, third one. Its focus is very theoretical, right? That's why they were disappointed. Last one. What does Jack say about the article on seed germination by Lee Hall? So, Jack is telling about the article on seed germination by Lee Hall, something about seed germination on Lee Hall, and that is the key word. Okay, the article is written by Lee Hall, and Jack says something about that. The diagram of plant development are useful. Okay, the diagrams of plant development are useful. The analysis of seed germination statistics is thorough, right? The findings on seed germination after fires are surprising. So the findings on seed germination after fires are something which is surprising. The statistics on the analysis of seed germination is thorough, right? And the diagrams of plant development are useful. So 3 different things: plant development, seed germination, right? Okay, so let's go to the audio script, and it says somewhere here. Yes, that was interesting. I read an article about seed germination by Lee Hall. We are looking for an article by Lee Hall. So that is where your cue is. Emma. About seeds that lie in the ground for ages and only germinate after fire. So it is about seeds. She's asking. It's a question mark, you can see. She's asking the question. So he has to say yes or no. He says yes, that's the one. So it is seeds that lie on the ground for ages and only germinate after a fire, right? That's the one. I knew a bit about it already, but not about this research. So he says, yes, that's the one. I knew a bit about it already, but not about this research, right? That means he knows about seeds which are germinating after fire, but this research he is not knowing. His analysis of figures comparing the times of the fires and the proportion of seeds that germinated was done in a lot of detail. Very impressive. Now there's a word called analysis, right? Figures means statistics. Figures is always statistics. So the analysis of figures comparing the times of the fires and the proportion of the seeds, so respectively, that germinated was done in a lot of detail. Very impressive. So it was done in a very detailed manner, right? So when you go to the options, you can see for 25, the analysis of seed germination statistics is thorough. It is quite complete. It is in a very detailed manner. So that's why this is your correct option. Okay, it is not, this one is talking about the findings of seed germination after fire. This is talking about the analysis. Okay, so this is what the correct option is, B. Okay, that completes our multiple choice questions, right, which are 5. Not difficult if you take the correct keyword and listen, be focused on the audio. Okay, let's go to the next set of questions, which is flowchart. Complete the flowchart below. Now this is also a type of question which is common and in listening and to an extent reading also, right? We will be given a flowchart as the name suggests. You can see this is a flowchart here, and flowchart will always have a title. This is dealing about the stages in the experiment. When they go for the experiment, what are the stages or steps involved? You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blanks, right? That is 26 to 30. You have got 5 blanks, isn't it? And you have got a word bank which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 words. Out of these 8 words, 5 words are correct. Right? The twist is, don't expect these words like container, height, soil, color, weight, types, condition, depths anywhere in your audio clip. It will be always in a synonymous way, paraphrased, and you will hear it. So you should be able to understand which is the correct word when you listen to the audio and when you compare the sentences given to it, right? So choose 5 answers from the box and write the correct letter A to H next to questions 26 to 30, right? So you have got, so before going to the audio, read the sentences. What are you looking for? The first sentence says, select seeds of different dash and sizes. Size is already given, right? That means you have to select the seeds of different what? Something, maybe it can be color, it can be types, it can be shape, it can be anything, we don't know, right? So because it is of size is already given, so it can be anything. So be alert about that, and then go to the box and check what is it. You can see weight is there, right? You can see height is there, you can see color is there, you can see types is there. So maybe it is any of them. It should be grammatically correct also, right? Okay, second sentence says, measure and record the dash and size of each one. So size is measure the size and record it, right? Somewhere record it, write it down, what the size and something else. It can be the height, it can be the weight. We don't know, because height and weight both can be measured. It is given in your options, right? So you should be somewhere, you should have the hints with you. Decide on the dash to be used. Now what is to be used here? Like you can use soil, you can use container, right? Whatever it is, right? Use different dash for each seed and label it. This can also be a container, right? Seed and label it. After 3 weeks, record the plant's dash. It can be the weight, height, anything, the color, whatever it is, right? So, but we have an idea what we are looking for, right? So, after taking that 20-25 seconds and going through that, different types of sentences, and then that means you're not going to the audio blank. So, it makes easy for you. Now, let's go to the audio script, right? We ended here, wherein, Emma is telling, was that the article with the illustrations of early stages of plant development? They were very clear. I think those diagrams were in another article. So that completes this one. Coming to the stages, Emma. Anyway, shall we have a look at the procedure for our experiment? Procedure is process which will involve steps or stages, right? We will need to get going with it quite soon. Jack, right. So the first thing we do is find our seeds. I think vegetable seeds would be best, and obviously they mustn't be all the same size. They must not be of all the same size. So how many sorts do we need? Sorts, how many different types, right? About 4 different ones. That means you need 4 different sizes. It is not different types. So it is sort, means it's what different types, right? That is, if you ask a question, what sort of a man you are, that means what kind of man you are, what type of man you are, right? So how many sorts how many types do we need? About 4 different ones, right? So when we go to the word bank, you can see we saw an option which was telling about, this is synonymous to sorts. So your answer for 26 is G, which you'll write on your answer sheet. On your answer sheet next to 26, you will write G. This is types. Okay. Next one. Measure and record the dash and size of each one. So you have to measure and record. Size you are already given. What else other than size? So let's go to the audio clip. I think that would be enough. There will be quite a large number of seeds for each one. Then next stage. For each seed, we need to find out how much it weighs. That is the weight. And also measure its dimensions, and we need to keep a careful record of all that. So you need to get it weighed, you need to check the weight and write it down, and also measure its dimensions are size, right? When you measure the dimension of something, like the height, the breadth and all, you're trying to get the size of that, right? So it is weighs, which is somewhere here, you can see in the box, it says weight. So that is your correct option for 27. It is weight. Right? Next. Decide on the dash to be used. Right? What is to be used? So what is that which we are going to use? Emma. That will be quite time consuming. And we also need to decide how deep we are going to plant the seeds. Right on the surface, a few millimeters down, or several centimeters. So we need to decide how deep we are going to plant the seeds. That is the depth. What will be the depth? Will be how much down the soil, that will give you right on the surface a few millimeters down on several centimeters. So what is it that is connected to the depth when you go? Okay, when you go to depth, what is the word which is connected to it? Weight we have already taken. So now what we have is clearly given depth. There's no chance of synonym also. It's very clear. So you have to take it as depth. So that is for 28 on the depths to be used. Right. 29. Use a different dash for each seed and label it. Now label it gives you a hint. You label boxes, you label containers, you label something which is tangible, right? So what is it? When we go to the yes, okay, so then we get planting. Do you think we can plant several seeds together in the same plant pot? Right? No, I think we need a different one for each seed. Right, and we need to label them. We can use different colored labels. Then we wait. Okay, so this, do you think we can plant all the seeds in the same plant pot? No, I think we need a different one for each seed and we need to label it. So it is plant pot. Plant pot has to be selected, different plant pot for every seed, and that has to be labeled also. So you can see synonymous to plant pot is only one word here, which says container. Nothing else is there which is tangible here, right? Like as in a thing, right? So that is the correct answer, which is A. Container. Okay, right. After about 3 weeks, record the plans dash. So after 3 weeks, you record the plans what? So this is whatever you're recording, it happens after 3 weeks, right? So when we go down, you can see, yes. Then we wait for the seeds to germinate. I reckon that it will be about 3 weeks. That means for germination, it will take 3 weeks, depending on what's the weather like. Then we see if our plants have come up and write down how tall they are, how tall they have grown. Okay, so how tall they have grown. When you say that she is around 5 feet or 6 feet tall, means you're telling the height of a person. So it is quite synonymous that you're looking for the writing down the height, and height is given in your options, which is option E, right? You can see here E. So your answer for E 30 will be E, which is height. Okay, investigate the findings. That is the last step, and which is given over here. Then all we have to do is look at our numbers and see if there's a relation between them. That's right. So that completes the audio clip with audio script with 10 different questions. Not difficult, right? If you listen to the audio focused and if you have got the correct keywords, it is not going to be difficult for you to get the answers. So we have solved 2 different types of questions. So MCQ, which is very common, I think, like I told, the short question, all the test papers. We came to an understanding about flowchart, right? Flowchart, it is also not difficult. It is sentences given in boxes, which is coming step by step, right? It is giving a process. So that is flowchart completion, right? It is with a word box, right? Word bank. If not, you have to just fill in listening to the audio. There you will get the exact word. You have to take the exact word and put. Here it was synonymous words, because if they give the same word in the box, it will become very easy. It is not difficult at all. You will just listen to the word and write. That's why the paraphrase is given. Okay, so that is where we end today with our listening live. We will meet next session, most probably, if there is no hurdle, with the 4th section of the same test, which will be the last section. So let's see what is waiting there for. Until then, you keep on practicing all the modules, not only listening, reading, writing, and speaking, if you're planning to give your test in the coming future or near future, because practice is the key when it comes to IELTS. Keep on doing that. Have a great day. Keep yourself safe.